like. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Joining me in the studio today is my co-pilot, Jeff Harding. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm great, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks. Thanks for being with us.
It's always good to be here. Always good to be here, Kyle.
Well, it's always good for me as well when you're here.
Thank you.
So, Jeff, for all of us, time marches on.
Some faster than others, but yes, it does.
It just goes. I mean, unless you're Doctor Who and you live outside of the regular flow of time and space, time passes for each of us.
Or Benjamin Button, who
ages backwards.
Right.
I feel like I've kind of turned a corner in my life, Jeff.
Which corner was that, Kyle?
I feel like I'm at the age where it's now become a reality that the older you get, the faster time flies.
Welcome to the club.
I know. I mean, for all my life, I've heard my parents and my grandparents and people that are their age say that. And frankly, I have to admit, I didn't believe it.
But now you do.
But now that I'm in the boat, I admit that I found it to be true. And it really hit me the other day when I was helping my daughter, McKinley, fill out her forms to order her cap and gown for high school graduation.
Ouch. Yeah.
It's crazy, And after we'd filled out the forms, it occurred to me that she will be turning 18 next week.
18.
My daughter is turning 18 next week. And It was last week. It was just last week when I was holding her in my arms and singing soft Bon Jovi songs to her in my lullaby voice as I tried to get her to sleep as we had just barely brought her home from the hospital.
Did that work?
You know what? Believe it or not, it did.
Wow, that's amazing.
It actually did. Obviously I was toning it down some, but it's weird. And frankly, it's a little frightening at how fast time can pass.
I was just thinking, I met her 7 years ago.
Yeah, she was a little girl then.
She was just 13.
And she's going to be 18 next week. So crazy. But anyway, with that in mind, Jeff, I have found 11 sports facts that will make you feel old. So are you ready?
I'm ready. I already feel old. Go ahead.
After that, I think I feel a little old myself. But do you remember the XFL?
Yes.
It was kind of a short-lived football league that was owned by Vince McMahon, who was the owner of the WWF at the time.
It was all about show and not so much about play.
It only went for one season.
Right.
But that season was 12 years ago.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Here's another one. Most current high school seniors were not alive when Michael Jordan wore number 45 and played for the Bulls. They weren't even alive.
That's unbelievable.
Here's another one. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Danny Alamonte?
No.
Okay, you'll remember this. Danny was considered a little league pitching phenomenon. And he took his team, the Bronx, to the Little League World Series in 2001. And it was revealed later that he was actually 2 years too old to play Little League.
I remember that now,
It was kind of a controversy.
I remember that.
That was 12 years ago, and Danny is now 26 years old. It doesn't seem that long ago, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Do you remember the Macarena?
Oh, yeah. I can still do it.
It was played in every sports arena, in every city, for every sport. It swept the nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
17 years ago when that song was released.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Another one, number 5. Do you remember Michael Jordan's movie Space Jam? When he teamed with Bugs Bunny and other Looney Tunes characters and they saved the universe?
Right.
Also 17 years ago when that movie was released.
Amazing.
Number 6 on my list, today's high school freshmen have never watched a football game without the yellow first down line magically moving and magically appearing on the field. They've never even seen an NFL game without that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Number 7, the great one. Do you know who the great one is?
Wayne Gretzky,
right?
Yeah.
He scored his last goal in hockey 14 years ago.
I'm old, Kyle.
How are you feeling,
I'm
Jeff?
old. I'm very old.
Number 8, the WWF, which I mentioned earlier, changed their name to WWE 12 years ago. That's been a long time ago. I don't know if that stands out. Maybe don't.
I don't really follow. I mean, you're a wrestler, but I don't really. Well, you're a real wrestler.
This is a whole other thing.
You're a real wrestler, yeah.
But along those same lines, listen to this: Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. You remember Hulk Hogan?
Oh yeah.
He's now 60 years old. 60.
Yeah, that means he's just a few years older than me.
And still threatening to get in the ring, by the way.
And looks like he could.
And probably could.
He looks fantastic.
Okay, 2 more just to round this out. You remember when Lance Armstrong was diagnosed with cancer?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a big deal back then. He was 25 at the time, and that was also 17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And finally, here's the last one. This is for our former CFO, Nancy Colorasi. The last time the Buffalo Bills made the playoffs, Bill Clinton was the president.
Yeah.
It's been a few years.
It's been a year.
It's been a few years.
It's been a while.
Now, some people might hear that list and feel depressed. But not me, and I know not you.
No, not me, no.
No, because each year that passes brings me 1 year closer to eligibility to be an athlete for the games, and other people as well. And also, each year that passes just entrenches people who are 50 and over more and more into the Huntsman World Senior Games.
Yeah, my trench is getting pretty deep now.
It's getting deeper, isn't it?
Deep, yeah.
Speaking of athletes at the Huntsman World Senior Games, we have joining us by phone from Dallas, Texas, one of our very own athletes, Mr. Bob Welty. Bob, are you there?
I am here.
Bob, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Hey, we're so glad that you can join us today, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
Welcome, Bob.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Bob was an All-American swimmer in college and will be turning, I believe, 70 this year. Is that correct, Bob?
That's correct.
And this year will be his second Huntsman World Senior Games. And not only are we excited to host him at our swimming event in a few weeks, but we're very excited once again to have him on the show today. And Bob, we want to talk with you about your experience at the Huntsman World Senior Games and a variety of things. But just so we can get to know you a little bit better, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself? Where are you from, and how did you get into swimming?
Okay. I was born in Southern California in a city, Santa Ana is the name of the city, in Orange County, near Los Angeles, and was reared there and stayed there through high school. And I left there with a swimming scholarship to the University of Oklahoma in 1965. And stayed at Oklahoma, of course, till I graduated. I studied architecture there, and then moved to Dallas in 1969, and
have been there ever since.
Been in Dallas ever since. Yes, I got married my senior year of eligibility in college, and then had two small kids. So my wife of 49 years and my two small kids moved to Dallas. I now have 3 grown children and 6 grandchildren, the oldest of which is 19, a little older than your daughter.
Wow.
And a 7th granddaughter on the way in 2 weeks.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
Bob, that's awesome. So you went to college on a swimming scholarship, so obviously that meant that you picked up and enjoyed swimming early on. Did you swim competitively in high school and pre-high school, or how did you kind of get into swimming and learn to love the sport?
I think you'll probably find interesting. I really didn't learn to swim until I was 10 years old.
It's kind of old, especially in California.
That's very old. My parents took me to a swimming school and gave me lessons. And at the last lesson, they lined all the kids up across the end of the pool and wanted them to swim to the other side, of course. And most of the kids took their beautiful strokes and swam across. Of course, I dove in and swam very fast to the other side. And the teachers decided that they had a little swim team. They decided I should be on that swim team. So I joined the swim team immediately. I actually entered a swim meet the following weekend, and I'll never forget it. I won my first gold medal in the 25-yard freestyle. So,
is that right? Wow. So
that got me started at the age of 10.
So you went, Bob, from swimming lessons to a gold medal in like
1 week.
a 1 week's amount of time. That's pretty impressive.
Little did you know they were auditioning you when they had you swim across the pool, did you?
I did not know that, no. But I did other sports in junior high school, as they called it then, middle school and high school. in pretty much all sports. I played football and basketball and ran track and played baseball. And when I got to high school, I determined my best chance at an athletic scholarship would be in swimming. I swam and played water polo in high school, and so I swam and earned my way to college that way.
Well, that's great. Congratulations. What an exciting way to start out your career. So after college, you swam competitively, obviously, at Oklahoma, and were an All-American, so you were very successful there. That's great. After college, did you continue to swim, or did you take a break, or how did you get back into swimming masters?
Well, when I'd finished my swimming eligibility at Oklahoma, I actually coached a swim team in Oklahoma City Kerr-McGee Swim Club for about 3 years, and really enjoyed that. But then when I moved to Dallas, I really concentrated on my architecture for a number of years, and actually didn't start swimming competitively again until I turned 39 in 1982, and
you jumped back in the pool, and it was like riding a bike. They say, did it all come back to you fairly easily?
Oh, it did, and it was great. Again, and the name of my team at that point was Lone Star Masters. They've since become known as Dallas Aquatic Masters, but it's a real big team, and probably 600 on the team, and we swim at several different pools, morning, noon, and night. So and you know, some very, very talented swimmers, some ex-Olympians, and some triathletes. So we have lots of people who train with us, and it's still a big part of my life, and something I look forward to doing at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Well, that's great. That's just great. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and we're visiting with college All-American swimmer and Huntsman World Senior Games athlete Bob Welty. And so you mentioned, Bob, that you stay kind of engaged in competitive competitions, in your competitions, by swimming maybe 4 to 5 times a week. How often do you compete? Do you have a weekly meet, or is it monthly, or is it just kind of hit and miss?
No, I think an important part of swimming is setting some goals, and usually at the early part of the swimming season, swimming has actually 2 seasons: a short course season where you swim in a 25-yard pool typically, and then a long course season, which is the summertime, when you swim typically is the outdoor swimming, and you swim in a 50-meter swimming pool. So it's pretty different in swimming in the 2 pools, but there are a number of meets. Swimming's come a long way since I started master swimming in 1982. Now there are zone meets, which are regional. I think the United States has probably 12 or 15 zones now. And there are zone meets, there are national meets, both long course and short course. There of course are world meets or international meets as well. And master swimming is also a bit unique, but all master sports are kind of set up that way. But in swimming, they're every 5 years you go to a new age group.
Right.
So that keeps the competition more level than it would be if it were just open to anyone, any age, swimming altogether.
Now, Bob, we heard that you had a heart attack a while ago, and yet we're hearing that you're still swimming. That must have slowed you down a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the experience of having the heart attack and then getting yourself back into shape to be able to swim again.
Okay. Actually, on July 19th, I was competing in the South Central Long Course Zone Championship meet in Mansfield, Texas. I I swam my fifth event of the day, which is a 100-meter butterfly, which is an extremely hard event. But at the end of that event, I finished the event and actually won the event. But I'm told I climbed out of the water and then fell back in the pool with cardiac arrest.
Wow, that is really scary.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is especially scary in that I've always kind of felt like a good athlete should know his body and know when something's wrong, and I can attest that I felt no pains. I was not short of breath. There were no symptoms that anything like that was about to happen to me.
Well, it sounds like your heart forgot to send you the message.
Well, it did, and fortunately for me, two of my teammates, Janie Cole and Mark Glass, were there and pulled me out of the water and did CPR and mouth-to-mouth for I'm told, over 20 minutes until the EMTs arrived.
That's good thing they're in shape. That's hard work.
It is, and the doctors and nurses at the hospital told me when I got there that anyone who was out as long as I was should either be dead or brain dead, and that it was really a miracle that I was alive. So
wow, that is truly amazing.
I'm happy that God chose to keep me here for a little while longer.
At least for a little while longer.
So that was just last July.
That was about July 19th. That
is even more amazing to me that you're back ready to compete in just a few months.
Well, what they did to me in the hospital, well, what the doctors told me is because of all my training over the years, probably my strongest muscle in my body was my heart, which is a good thing.
Yes.
And that basically, what they did is they did a catheterization and installed a stent in my left anterior descending artery. Which I guess the attack, they think, and they don't really know for sure, but it was caused by some sort of plaque or something breaking off an artery and then all congregating in that specific artery, and then that caused the clog. But the stent, they cleaned it out and put the stent in, and
now you're back in business.
In 1 week, I was back at rehab, and in 4 weeks, when I got my life vest, as they call it, an external defibrillating device, when I took that off, I was able to get back in the water.
Wow. So what an incredible recovery time. Bob, that's amazing. That's an inspiring
truly amazing
story.
Congratulations to you.
Well, thanks.
So we're glad also that you get to stick around for a little while longer, and that you're going to be swimming with us in just a few weeks here in St. George at the Huntsman World Senior Games. You mentioned earlier, Bob, that you said Masters swimming has come a long way since you started swimming Masters events. I was curious if maybe you've noticed that over your lifetime of swimming, even from a young boy to the level that you're at right now, what kind of changes have you seen in swimming over a lifetime of competing?
Well, certainly times have and will continue to get faster. Records are fine and a good measuring stick maybe for a little while, but someone's coming along who's going to break your records soon.
That does tend to happen, doesn't it?
Training techniques have really changed. When I was a competitive swimmer in college, we would sometimes we trained 2 times a day or whatever, but we probably never trained more than about 4 hours a day. Today, your elite swimmers train probably 8 to 10 hours in the water a day.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
About all they do is swim, eat, and sleep.
It sounds like it. If you're in the pool for 8 to 10 hours a day, that's all you have time for.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But master swimming started kind of as back in 1982. I remember it was far less competitive and kind of fun, and everyone was cheering each other on. And over the years, it's gotten progressively more competitive. And most of your national meets and major meets now have qualifying times, which means that your newer swimmers and your slower swimmers can't even compete in those meets. But I do miss that because I think swimming should be something that's fun and a social thing as well as a physical thing. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think it should be kind of fun. Hearing about your heart attack and that you've stayed. What has been your motivation to stay active and train and keep going and fighting through pain? I mean, what has been your motivation to keep you going? I think a lot of people would have thrown in the hat that have said, "Oh, heart attack,
I'm done.
That's the alarm. That's telling me I need to slow down."
Well, I think it is certainly important that you have physicals and visit your doctor and talk to him and listen to him. But I have to tell you, and my wife's not always real happy when I do this, but when I talk with my cardiologist or my rehab people, my trainers now, we don't always see eye to eye. But initially they told me, well, we're going to make your heart stronger than it was before, and I said, well, that's fine, that's good. They said, but we don't think you should compete in anything for 6 months to a year, and I said, well. I'm not sure about that one.
You said that's where we have a difference of opinion.
We need to talk more about that. So they, and I'm not sure what they fully expected of me in rehab, but I don't go to rehab to be there and mark time. If they tell me to do something, I try to do that and a little bit more, and I'm there to get stronger and better and recover quicker and fuller is my goal. So.
Well, that's great, Bob. That's great. Believe it or not, we're kind of running short on time, but I've got one more question for you that I'm curious about. You've had a great swimming career, and you've done some amazing things, and you keep going, which I think is inspiring. What would you tell someone who is maybe on the fence about getting involved in an event like the Huntsman World Senior Games or a swimming competition or a 5K race, or someone who's just kind of thinking, well, maybe, but maybe not? What would you tell that person?
I'd tell them go for it. I think it's important to challenge yourself in life. I think it's important to try and improve and get better and learn new things, and at any age. I'm 70 years old, and I'm still trying to do new things and accomplish new things. So it's never too late to do that. And I think swimming is as kind of an exercise to your body as any exercise is. It's far better than running or other things that really strain your joints and hurt your muscles. So.
Well, it is easy on your joints for sure. And Bob, that's all the time that we've got today. We sure appreciate the time that you spent with us.
Thank you, Bob.
We look forward to working or seeing you again in a few weeks here in St. George.
I will be there for the meet this year, and this year I'm only going to be able to compete in one event a day, which was something my doctors insisted on. But
that's okay. That's okay.
I'm excited to do that. Yep.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, I want to share just a little bit of Huntsman World Senior Games news with everyone. If you haven't heard, let me make sure that you know that we've officially closed registration for the games. And if you missed the registration deadline this year, well, we hope that you can join us next year. But I want to start putting a plug or two in for some of the amazing extracurricular activities that we have at the games that everyone is invited to. Athlete, non-athlete, it doesn't matter. We've always considered the games a celebration, and we want people to come and celebrate with us. So on Tuesday, October 7th at 7 p.m. at the Hanson Stadium at Dixie State University, come and join us for our grand opening ceremonies. It's an incredible presentation with singing, dancing, there's fireworks, there's a parade of athletes, and of course, our signature flag extravaganza. And this year's guest speaker is Utah jazz great Thurl Bailey. So it's a show that you definitely won't want to miss. The games are from October 6th through the 18th this year. We want you to come and be a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday, where we'll continue to explore the active life. And for those of you outside, you can listen to this podcast and others at seniorgames.net. And a final thought for the day: I've often thought life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. Until next Thursday, stay active.